Can the Chicago Bulls get back in the win column today when they host the Philadelphia 76ers before a 4-day off stretch? We'll see that. We're going to talk about it all and more on today's Chicago Bulls Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize. More importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today. And guess what, y'all? It's game day. And so the Chicago Bulls are taking on the Philadelphia 76ers at home today. This is the last game for the Chicago Bulls before they take a extended break, which Billy Donovan has already talked about, that he's really excited to get some practices back in here. And so let's hope that the Bulls can use those practices to look much better and to execute much better. But overall, this game against the Philadelphia 76ers is a big one for the team. You cannot overlook the importance of this game. They may be without Joel Embiid. I don't know if he's officially been cleared one way or another yet, but when it all comes down to it, the Bulls need to stack up as many wins as they can. And this is a Philadelphia 76ers team that has been struggling, but we could have said the same thing about the Indiana Pacers, and we saw how that game went for the Chicago Bulls. So they're going to have to really be prepared and locked into this game, because if they're not, it could turn ugly very quickly. And if it does, hey, listen, Tyrese Maxey is a player that can absolutely fill it up. Paul George is a player that can absolutely fill it up. Paul George had 21 and 9 the other day. So, as he rounds back out and gets more comfortable, we'll see what happens in that one. So we'll see. It also has come out that Lonzo, Kobe White, and Nikola Vucevic will all play today after initially being listed as probable yesterday. So all those guys are playing, and we'll see what that means for this team if they're ready. Andre Drummond's coming back in town. Be on the lookout for Drummond to give Vooch some work. Vooch is not going to have an easy game today against Andre Drummond at all. So he's going to have to be prepared and locked in. If he's not, it could get really, really, really ugly. And we want to avoid ugly losses where and when we can. So that's one thing that you're going to have to look out for and hope that this team is ready for, man. Early game today. Is this the first early Sunday game we've had this season? I feel like it is. I don't feel like the Bulls have had a game this early maybe all season long now, to be honest about it. This is a really early start for the Chicago Bulls. And not that really matters. The players need to be prepared one way or another, but this is a little bit of a different feel. I don't know when's the last time the Bulls played before the Bears on a day. I don't think we've had a game that's been this early all season long. And looking at the schedule, this may be our earliest start time. Now, we have at the end of the season, on April 6th, we have another start time this early, but this is our earliest start time for the season. That's crazy. That's wild. So, and the Bears play today too. This could be a double stressful day for me. That's what this could be. And not to make it just about me, but as somebody who covers both teams, when one of the teams when both of the teams lose on the same day, that's some stress, man. That's some stress. It is what it is. Don't feel sorry for me, though. Feel sorry for the Bulls. Bulls for Life in the building says, early-ass game today, barely had my coffee. That's one thing I do enjoy about being in Eastern time zone, because this game is a 1 p.m. start time for me. So I've pretty much had a pretty semi-full day already by the time this game starts. What's good, fam? What's going on, Ashley? Glad to have you in the building. Dreams are reality says, hello, Haize and fam. Glad to have you in here. Yeah. What's up, DK? Haize, besides Chicago Bulls, what would be your second best NBA team? Listen, I'm not a die easy fan. It's just I have teams that I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching the Charlotte Hornets. I enjoy watching the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, because I just enjoy loving I enjoy watching Ja Morant. I've had a lot of fun watching Magic games so far this season. There's a lot. I just love basketball. I've said this before. I honestly could watch 5 organized bums play basketball if it's organized enough. I just love basketball. That's why I have NBA Central. By the way, y'all go and support NBA Central. There should be no reason why I have 20,000 subscribers over here on Chicago Bulls Central, and we got a tenth of that, only 2,000 over on NBA Central. Go over there and subscribe to NBA Central as well. We're dropping semi-daily content over there on NBA Central. So Embiid is playing limited minutes. Okay. Having Embiid and Andre Drummond out there is going to be really interesting to watch how the Bulls counteract that size. We just don't have the size to combat that for a long period of time, so we'll see. Is Patrick Williams playing? No, Patrick Williams is not playing. Billy Donovan's already said P. Will's not going to come back at the earliest until after this extended break. So he's not going to play today. The earliest we can see Patrick Williams is on Friday when we face off against the Boston Celtics. So I can imagine if you were the Bulls owner, Haize, I bet this team would be low. Hey, listen, I'd be cussing motherfuckers out all the time. 5 a.m. game for Aussies. That's crazy. That's wild. That's a ridiculous start time. I can't believe 12 is early for y'all. What time do y'all get up? Yeah, listen, I'm one of those. I'm one of those people where people be like, it's 9 a.m. on a Saturday. It's early. It's like, that's not early. Like, what are you talking about? That's really not early. It's good to be a double stressful day. Also, Haize, I got a question. My son want a new Bulls hoodie for Christmas. You got any suggestions on particular site? Yeah, Fanatics. Literally, that's the best and easiest place to get Bulls gear, and they keep it updated. Like Fanatics is the place where I get 90% of my Bulls gear. Now, if you want some kind of outskirt things that you don't see everywhere, Culture Kings is another good one. And then even like the Bulls in their 66 collection have some that aren't available on other sites, but just generally for some of the best Bulls gear, Fanatics. That's usually where I get most of my stuff at. Yeah, I know. I caught myself. I knew you were gonna catch that. Gang, what's going on, Delbert? Wizards beat Denver, and Jokic had a monster game. Any given, yeah, that's what. Listen, it's any given day. You're absolutely right on that. We need Haize to be Chicago Bulls coach and fire Billy Bubblegum Donovan. That is, no, you don't want me as a coach. I don't have the patience. Like, I don't have the temperament or the patience. Like, because I'll punch somebody. Like, somebody will literally miss a defensive assignment, and when they come back on the sideline, I'm just like, hey, bitch. Like, just real quick. Just right in their throat. Like, yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that. I'm UK, so it's a nice 6 p.m. evening start time for me. That's a solid start time. That's a solid start time. Nice background picture. That's not a picture. That's real. It's no picture. I don't do those digital backgrounds. This is real. Yeah, hold on, wait a second. See that? That's real. We don't do pictures. We don't do pictures over here. We put in actual work on our backgrounds over here. We don't do those digital backgrounds. We don't do that. I'm way too talented for the digital backgrounds. We bougie in this bitch. Talking about some nice background picture. This ain't no picture. This is real. Look. That's real. Everything is tangible. You can come in here and touch it. So no, not nice background picture. Don't you ever disrespect me after the hours I put in to put this motherfucker up to say a picture. This is real, bruh. This is real shit here. I know this may be random, but remember Andre Drummond does not really like to come out on the perimeter to guard anybody. That's not true. Shay, what do you be talking about, bro? Andre Drummond is one of the most switchable big men in the league. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? 8 p.m. in Eastern Europe, one game I can watch normally. Hey, shout out to you, ATS. ATS, I didn't realize you were in Europe. You've been in Europe this whole time? That's crazy. You've literally been a subscriber here, I think, for like 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. I had no idea you were in Europe this whole time. Shout out to you, bro. I always, like, as somebody who grew up in Italy and Germany, mainly Germany, spent a lot of chunk of my childhood there. I always appreciate when people support from overseas. I had no idea, bro. I had no idea. You finna smack somebody like MJ did, Monk. That's hilarious. That's funny. Red and blue are my two favorite colors, no Diddy. Red's my favorite color, and that's not even because I'm a Bulls fan. Like, red's always been my favorite color. But, yeah, it's a nice color scheme, and I like how the dynamic of having the two different colors behind me. Haize, do you think if Chicago got some more players that just got damn heart and a level of toughness that we would be better? I just feel like we need more vocal players on the court like Joe. Yeah, but Joakim Noah was an extremely skilled player. See, yeah, having players with just heart, it helps, but you need skill and heart. Skill and heart is really what ups your ceiling. If you can get both from a player, Joakim Noah was an extremely skilled player. So, yeah. Damn fight. Yeah, like come on, talking about a nice background. Y'all been watching too much Pat the Designer in the Windy City Breeze when P Kid be doing them solo videos. Oh, this is real. This is tangible work over here. I spent hours putting this together. We're talking about that's a nice background picture. Picture. I made those. I had to put my hard work into making those heads that you see behind me. I made those. Yeah, it's almost some pictures. The hell we talking about? We talking pictures? No. Y'all think that the level, do I seem like a nigga that shortcuts? No. I'm a hard-working motherfucker out here, bro. Now, come to think of it, I probably could have recreated the same thing digitally, but it wouldn't have the same effect. Like, I like being able to walk down in my studio and seeing shit. Like, it helps me be in a creative mindset a little bit more. It just is, man. People that live in the UK have a regular start time of like 1 a.m. Yeah, I remember from living overseas, man. Man, that background hard as fuck for. I appreciate that. It's game day. You already know, Trevon. 1998 was the Chicago Bulls' last championship, and it's 2024. I wonder, would Chicago Bulls ever win another ring? It's been 26 years. Hey, man. Hey, we'll see. That background is fire. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's almost a nice background picture. Come on, man. What are we talking about? It would be a good Sunday if the Bulls and Bears win it. Listen, if the Bulls and the Bears win it, they can't nobody tell me shit the rest of the day. Yeah, the rest of the day. Have you seen Javon Carter's background? No Diddy. He has set up for his IG. It's almost as good as he is. No, I didn't even know. Why would I go look at a bald-headed hoe's IG? So, love what you do, man. I literally be watching your Bulls updates when I'm about to start go kart race. Hey, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. One of the things that I really wanted to do, and people who've been around know this. Like when I decided to create this channel, I wanted it to be a one-stop shop. I really want every Bulls fans to be able to come and get all the information they need, whether it's updates, whether it's analysis, everything. And not to say that like don't subscribe to other channels. No, there's a lot of great Bulls content creators that all deserve some recognition and support. But I just wanted it to be fully fledged out. I didn't want to just talk games. I didn't want to just talk rumors or you only see me when there's news. So like, yeah. Would you who you think would win this game? I don't predict wins or losses, bro. Like all I talk about is what the Bulls need to do. And it's honestly, in all jokes aside, it's difficult to predict the Bulls to win things because yeah, their offense is great, but like defensively, we are trash. Let's hope the Bulls' offense and defense is awake for this early start. Hey, listen, it's crazy. That ain't no green screen. Fuck that. See, yeah, come on, man. We don't do green screen over here. Hey, bro, I don't like the NFL. Okay, cool. Didn't want to. Oh no, bro. I'm just being silly, bro. Like, no, no offense at all, bro. I'm honestly just having some fun with you, bro. I promise you. Tony Montana voice at who put this together? Me. That's who. Me. Brick by brick. Javon Carter and THC look like they can be Chicago brothers. That's one bald-headed hoe and one balding head hoe. But hey, THC's balling though. Like THC is playing really well right now, man. If you can go back in time to 2011 free agency, what would you have did different than that year? 2011. I don't even remember what we did in 2011 free agency. Honestly, I don't. Bro, that's what it's 13 years ago. I have no fucking clue. 2011 free agency, that's when the Carlos Boozer free agency, is that when that was? Bro, I have no idea. They got to keep in mind, too, like, the Bulls had no, like, the fact that they even were able to get Carlos, but keep in mind, we had to piecemeal that team together. That, like, Ronnie Brewer, people didn't think he was going to play as good as a role. CJ Watson, for those 2 years, he played really good coming off the bench for the Bulls. Carlos Boozer, so, like, nobody wanted to come to Chicago. The one thing that I probably would have tried to do different is find a way to keep Kurt Heinrich. That's what I probably would have done different. If I think of that Bulls team in 2011, if that's the team I'm thinking about, if you would have been able to keep Kurt Heinrich on that team, I think that Bulls team probably would have again, minus Derrick Rose, but I think that team would have got past the Miami Heat that year. If you have Kurt Heinrich on the team that year, they would have gotten past Miami that year. I really think that. With Kurt Heinrich's three-point shooting, with his defense, how he changed his body to play next to Rose, I think if you can keep Heinrich on that team makes it past Miami. Because keep in mind that like Derrick Rose was still healthy that year. You make it past Miami that year. I think because at that point, even if you put LeBron on Derrick Rose, like Kirk Heinrich's 3-point shooting at that time would have opened up some wide open lanes for him. So I would have found a way to keep Kurt Heinrich on that team. That's my personal opinion. And I think if you have Kurt Heinrich and Kyle Korver on that team, you have more than enough 3-point shooting, and I think you would have found a way. How do you even stop Embiid with the squad? You don't. You try to stop everything else. I mean, to be honest with you. Y'all be killing me with the ball-headed hoe shit about Javon. I mean, that's what he is. He's a ball-headed hoe. Haize, I don't bet money on. I work too hard for my money, right? And so I don't gamble. I don't bet. I don't do none of that shit with money. Does that make me boring? Maybe, but that's okay because I got money. I don't lose it, right? So, it is what it is. Do I miss out on some chances to double my money? Maybe, but I'm cool with what I got. So, yeah. Hey, do you think Modest Busilla's ceiling is higher than Franz Wagner's? I can't say yet. Honestly, it would be unfair for me to say that right now. Like, we haven't seen nearly enough of Modest Busilla's to say that. I will say this is that Modest is a lot more athletic than Franz. And so I think because of that already gives him a little bit of a higher ceiling, but it's not all about athleticism, right? It's about skill. You got to see what's going to happen there. Haize, what up? What's our starting five today? Any chance the Modest get... No, listen. Modest Busilla's is not going to start this season unless there have been a lot of moves or there are a lot of hurt players before Modest Busilla's starts. He's just probably not going to start. And it's not even about starting. I want to see Modest consistently average 18 to 20 minutes. I'm not worried about him starting, right? Haize, if it was up to you, would you let Kobe and Ayo play our guards and let Giddey play with the second unit, or would you keep Giddey as our starting point guard? I've gone over this in a video. Giddey's best lineups, and let me make sure that I don't want to talk out the side of my ass because it was true before. Things change. I'm gonna look at it, but I remember the last time I looked at in-depth Giddey lineups. Giddey's actually better out there when he's out there with the bench unit, and this is not even a slight. I'm not even saying to slight Giddey, but he's out there with more defenders when he's out there with the bench unit. So yes, I would, but I'm gonna make sure that that's still the case. Give me 1 second. Because, again, I like to actually talk intelligently. So, out of Giddey's 5 best lineups per differential. And let's go. I want to make sure that they play possessions together because I don't want to go with all right. So, Giddey's first positive differential lineup is Giddey, Ayo, Zach LaVine, Julian Phillips, Nikola Vucevic. So, that lineup has played 101 possessions together. They're positive plus 7.7. The next one up is Josh Giddey, Torrey Craig, Nikola Vucevic, and Ayo Dosunmu. So take a look at that one. That's really good. That one's played 27 possessions together. And then there is this lineup, which is Josh Giddey, Taylor Horton-Tucker, Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry, Jalen Smith. That's the one. Now, it's changed a little bit, but that lineup is plus 37 when they're on the court together and averages 137 points per 100 possessions and only give up 100 points per 100 possessions. So I'm just saying, if we're going off the numbers, it's telling us that because there are so many defenders and athletic players off that bench, that Josh Giddey's better. Now, but it still said if you keep Josh Giddey with the same starting lineup, but you just replace Kobe and Ayo, that's also a positive lineup for you. So it's either you start Ayo, if you want the best out of what we've seen so far from Josh Giddey, you either start him and Ayo as your backcourt, or you have Josh Giddey out there more with the bench players. That just is what it is. Now, you don't necessarily have to change your starting lineup for that. You just got to ebb and float your lineups better. So if you want to start Kobe and Josh Giddey together, fine. But you probably around the 4 or 5 minute mark want to bring in Ayo for whoever one you're bringing and stagger the other player with the bench unit. But is Billy Donovan going to do that? No, because Billy Donovan's a coward. So there you go on that one. Oh, Kirk Heinrich and Korver on the floor at the same time. I'm telling you, it would have been nice. It would have been real nice. Those were some good times with Kirk and D Rose. Facts. Love those guys. Yeah, Kirk Heinrich instead of Keith Bogans. Yeah, exactly. Right? Kirk Heinrich instead of Keith Bogans would have made such a difference for that team. Such a difference for that team. If we move Giddey to the bench, that would be so messed up because he left OKC for the exact reason. It's not messed up because you got to – listen, here's the thing, And I know this is not popular because we all have our favorite players. And this isn't just about Giddey. I'm saying this about anybody. If you don't want to come off the bench, bring it. And we also got to stop looking at coming off the bench as some huge negative. It's not about Giddey coming off the bench. He also was being phased out of the offense. I'm not saying let's sit Giddey on the bench and not play him. I'm still saying play Giddey between 25 and 28 minutes per game, bringing him off the bench. It's just about where you play him, right? So we got to stop looking at that. But then at top of that, if you want to start, bring it. That's it. You got to do what's best for your squad. You got to do what's best to get your team in a position to win basketball games. That's the most important thing there. I don't fuck your feelings. Facts over feelings. That's how I live my life by. Facts over feelings. Fuck your feelings. If the facts don't coincide with the feelings that you feel, you the one in the wrong, not the facts, right? If you feel a way about facts, you're wrong. Not the facts. The facts aren't wrong. They're facts, right? So that's the way and that's probably why I won't be a coach. That's why I won't be a coach. Because I literally I don't give a damn if it was goddamn LeBron James. If you sucking, you going on the bench. And if you got a problem with that, fight me. That's it. Or leave. What are you going to do? Then I probably get fired because that's not how it works in the NBA. You gotta coalesce to your stars. But yeah, fuck all that. I don't know if you listened to that interview that Dwayne Wade had, but he said that Kirk Howard used to give him problems to defend. Yeah, I heard. We've all heard that. We talked about that. Haize, what do you think will be Modest's long-term role for this team? Listen, I haven't seen nearly enough. I can't. You asked me to make a prediction 3 or 4 years out when the kids played 22 games this season. I can't do that. And my brain is maybe I'm too literal, right? But I can't do that. I can't project what he's going to be because, again, if you would have asked me a year and a half ago, would Kobe have turned into what he turned into last year? I would have said no. I would have said, I think he could be a solid scorer off the bench, but I didn't think that he would turn into the clutch player he did at times last year. So you can never really put a cap on players, especially when you don't have very much data, and we just don't have that much on Modest Bucelis. We don't. Yo, what up, bro? If Acme moves off Billy Donovan at some point, would you consider bringing back Thibodeau as a bridge head coach until we find out No. And first of all, Thibodeau isn't a bridge head coach. Thibodeau is a guy, keep in mind, Thibodeau is a guy that you want to create your roster built around what his mentality is so he's not a bridge coach. A bridge head coach is somebody who can adapt, or maybe somebody who's fresh. Tibbs ain't a bridge head coach. That's not what you do with Tibbs. Have you started your scouting process, bro? And if so, who are you excited by in the NCAA? I've actually had a couple of episodes on that already. So yeah, I've definitely it's not even a scouting process. I love watching basketball, period. I just said I could watch 5 organized bums play basketball. So yeah, I watch a lot of college basketball. I'm really, really impressed with Asa Newell. More and more I watch Asa Newell, the more I see, I like to envision when I'm talking about Bulls draft picks specifically, I like to think about how they fit in. Asa Newell and Modest Bucelis forward lineup, and then you still got Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips. And no slight to Patrick Williams. I'm not trying to slight anybody. I'm just saying what I've envisioned. Man, that is your modern day 3-4. That's just could be special. Asa Newell is a guy that I keep every time I see him. He does something, and I'm just like, hey, look out for this kid. VJ Edgecombe is another guy that I think would help solve a lot of the Bulls. Again, to kind of look at it as fit. If you put VJ Edgecombe in a backcourt with Kobe White, and then your 3 main guards are, and again, no slight to Josh Giddey. If you have your 3-guard rotation being Kobe White, VJ Edgecombe, and Ayo Dosunmu, man, listen. And again, this is based off potential because it could end up not working out. But man, VJ Edgecombe, bro, when I tell y'all about VJ Edgecombe, man, listen, this dude, he has a 6'5" wingspan as a guard. He's a 6'5" guard. He has kind of that Kobe White where his wingspan is the same as his height, but he has an 8-foot standing reach, an 8'3" standing reach. Hey, I'm telling you, VJ Edgecombe is a dude, and I'm telling y'all, man, I will not be surprised if VJ Edgecombe turns into a damn good player at the league. And he got that dog in him. This has been Nikola Vucevic's best year in Chicago. I guess we know his time is numbered. That's why he's playing so good. No, and see, that's not true. He's playing so good because he's able to get back into his spots naturally. I said this when we got DeMar DeRozan. If you look at the shot chart, DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic start their offense at the same exact spots. That's why it forced Vooch to be more of a shooter. What is Vooch doing less now? Shooting, and he's being more impactful at it. So when you have a player that's able to get more naturally into their spots, that's why you're seeing Nikola Vucevic play this way. It's not just because he's trying to get his way out of Chicago, because it makes more sense. Haize, besides Phil Jackson, your opinion, who was the Bulls' second best coach of all time? Oh, Tibbs. Tibbs easily. Tom Thibodeau. You think AK's thinking of getting Giddey over the reported 2 first-round picks for Alex Caruso was to help Zach's trade this season, so Levine does look a lot better with a good facilitator? No, because it's not like Giddey's the one that's passing a lot to, like, Zach LaVine is playing Zach LaVine. I think that they took, and again, it wasn't over 2 first-round picks. They got offered 2 first-round picks at the deadline, which they did not want to do because they wanted to compete for the play-in. So it's not, those two things aren't hand in hand. They didn't say, hey, no, we don't want 2 first-round picks. We want Giddey. They passed up on the offer of 2 first-round picks, and then when they finally decided to trade him, Giddey was the best offer. So no, I don't think they passed up on that because to help Zach's trade value. Haize, what do you think your biggest miss has been in terms of your scouting process, if any? That's actually a good question. I'm trying to think of players that I was really high on in some of these drafts that ended up, because like Walker Kessler I was super high on. I didn't scout Dalen Terry at all, so that was just a miss on my part. I don't have to go back and look. I have to go back and look at like who I was extremely high on that just hasn't been good. I can't think of, and I know it's happened. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. I know it's happened. I just can't think of any right now. But I know it definitely has happened, because there's definitely been players that I was like, hey, I thought they would be dogs, and they ended up not really being that. But yeah, so it is what it is, man. It is what it is, bro. But I'm excited about this game today. I can't wait to see how the Bulls perform in this game, man. I hope that they keep it going. Well, it's not like we got a win streak or anything going. I hope that they play well. If I'm not mistaken, the Sacramento Kings was offering a first-round draft pick for Alex Caruso. I don't think that's true. EJ Liddell. No, I mean, EJ Liddell has been exactly what I thought he was going to be. He just hasn't played very much. I was high on EJ Liddell. But I think like when EJ Liddell's actually played, he's actually looked exactly how I thought. And it's not that I thought EJ Liddell was going to turn into some star or anything, but I thought EJ Liddell would be pretty damn good. What would be the Bulls' biggest need going into the draft? And we don't know yet. We really can't. And I don't say that to not answer your question. We can't say. I mean, I would say the easiest answer there is a big man. I think Kaman Malovic is still the best prospect if the Bulls are going to go position of need, because we do need a future prospect big man. I just think, and I think he's the best one. But I mean, we don't know, because if you got to wait, we'll revisit that after the trade deadline, because if the Bulls do something crazy like trade Kobe or something like that, it could definitely change that. Wonder why the 76ers are not favored to win with Embiid and Maxey being ready to roll. Embiid usually balls out versus the Bulls because Embiid he's on a minutes restriction, and this season has not been good for Embiid. Like, Embiid has not been Embiid yet this season. Now, I do think that's going to come around at some point. I think how much Embiid and how quickly Embiid can get back to looking like Joel Embiid could still save the season for the Philadelphia 76ers. But they got to get it together. Like, it really sucks for them to, like, I mean, Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George, have they even shared the court at all any? I can't remember if all three of those guys have been on the court any. Also, it's important what we're the projections on those offered first round pick. Well, I mean, so one of the picks that they said that the Bulls got offered turned into a lottery pick, and people keep hanging on that. But then I'm like, well, if that team would have got Alex Caruso, would it still have been a lottery pick, right? Like, you got to think about it that way. Like, when that was reported this summer, like, yeah, one of the picks that the Bulls got offered was a lottery. It ended up being a lottery pick, but it would have been like, okay. But if that team would have got Alex Caruso, Alex Caruso would have definitely helped that team, and then would it still have been a lottery pick? Like that's one thing to look at for as well. In my opinion, both of the Thompson twins have fell off mainly due to injuries. Yeah, I still see really good upsides for both those guys. I like Amin and Ausar Thompson. I wasn't as high as some of those guys as other people were, but I think their floors are really high. Right? That's what I think. I don't think Billy is going anywhere. Jerry loves Billy so much. Now Billy's son is coaching the G League. We got Donovan. We got Donovan coaches at all levels. That's scary. Haize, if you were GM, what were the first 3 moves realistically you would do to improve our squad? That's a mailbag question, Ant. You got to call that in on a mailbag. I got to sit down and think about. I got to think. That's not a quick live stream answer. That's a good mailbag question though. Amit, yo, what's up, Haize? What's going on, man? I'm gonna be at the Bears game today versus the Niners. Well, hopefully you bring some luck for us, brother. Embiid only won a pity MVP because Perkins was whining like a bitch to take the MVP away. No, Perkins doesn't have that type of swing. Embiid earned that MVP. I'm sorry. I disagree with you there. I respect your opinion, but I just disagree with you there. They've only played like 20 minutes together, if I remember right. Also, what's good, family? I like the new setup. Appreciate that. Somebody was in here trying to say that it was a picture. They thought we had green screen in this bitch. No, just jokes, man. You think the Bulls offer Zoe an extension or try to trade him by the trade deadline? Been great seeing him out on the floor, but can his body hold together as he is only, 25? I mean, I think it could go either way. I mean, if he's willing to take a team-friendly contract, now we are very guard-heavy, but, depending on what moves we make, but I can also see them trading him. But I think if Lonzo is willing to take a team-friendly contract, I would definitely keep him on. Definitely keep him on. I'm still not opposed to Billy being the next GM, to be honest. I think he has the skills for it. No, I agree with that. I've said that many times before as well. Now, Winton disagrees with me because Winton has Billy Donovan trauma. But I think that Billy Donovan, actually some of his, especially with his what he's done as a scout over in college before, I do think that Billy Donovan could be a good GM. I really do think that. New setup is fire. Appreciate that. Listen, a steady evolution. Now, this I'm probably not changing this background anytime soon. Like, this is probably going to be the background for at least the next 3 years. Now, I get the itch every so often to just change shit, but this turned out the exact way that I wanted it to turn out. The exact way I wanted it to turn out. So I don't foresee this changing anytime soon, but I can't say that it's going to stay the same forever because, like I said, every 3 years or so, I get the urge to just change some shit. So yeah. So not that y'all care about that aspect of things, but I'm working on now turning everything into all voice activated. So like literally, probably I got everything's coming. I think it's supposed to be here by next Saturday. Where literally when I could walk into the studio and be like, Alexa, turn on camera A or whatever, like and it get done. So ever gonna collab with another? I've collabed with many. Like, are you new here, Dave? I've collabed with Stacey King's been on the show, Jamal from Bull Central, Matt Pett, Big Dave, all of the Chi-Town sports crew, Quentin from Let's Talk Bulls. We've had just almost every major Chicago Bulls content creator and YouTuber has been on here. I mean, so yeah, definitely going to happen at some point. It's just my schedule. So the way y'all don't understand this, and I mean, y'all don't know this part. So the daily episodes, the episodes that I post every single day, every single morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. to record those because I still work a full-time job. So I wake up at 5 a.m. It's very difficult to get somebody else that's going to say, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. to record with you. So. Ban these early time slots. 3:30 a.m. over here got me dying. That's crazy. That's wild. That background is fire, bro. Happy late birthday, fam. Love you, my guy. Love you too, Vern, man. I appreciate you, brother. I'm not sold on Billy and GM role. His rotations as a coach are questionable enough. If a GM role, the team would be built off all guards. No, see, again, that's a completely different role. Billy isn't the one I think you're mistaken. Billy isn't one choosing this roster. He's not. And Billy's rotations can only be as good as the roster that he has. We have no big men on this team. The big man rotation is Jalen and Vooch. Now, you could say, let's try to work Adama Sanogo in there a little bit more. Okay, I'll give you that one. But Billy didn't choose this roster. AK and Mark Eversley chose this roster. And that's why a GM, technically a GM's head role is they're head of scouting. That's typically what they do. And I think Billy Donovan could do a really good job of that. AK seems to handle most of the contract situations and things like that anyway. Billy Donovan didn't choose this roster. Wow, when did you have Stacey? Stacey King was on probably about a year and a half ago at this point. Let's see if I can find it. So Stacey King was on, damn. That was 2 years ago. June 10th, 2022 is when Stacey King was on last time. I got to get Stacey on again. It's been a minute. I got to get Stacey on again. I still remember my first day on this channel. Couldn't pronounce my name for shit. Somehow reason you like me from the jump. Much love to you. Hey, listen. I'm always gonna rock with who rocks with me. Unless you're stupid. But yeah, I couldn't pronounce Shay to save my word. And then I think you spelled it phonetically, and I was like, that just makes too much sense. That makes too much sense. Let's see if Josh Giddey can have a bounce back game, especially with how he's been inconsistent during the season so far. Let's hope so. I want to see everybody. I think it's weird, right? And I know I've said this before, and this will be the last thing before I get out of here before the game. I think it's really strange to me when people root against players on their team just so they can be right, right? Like people who like actively root against Josh Giddey or Patrick Williams just so they can say, "See, I told you so. I told you so." That's weird to me. I don't ever want to root against anybody on my team. I want everybody to thrive, right? So I want Josh Giddey to play well. I want Patrick Williams to play well. I want, hell, I would even, if Javon Carter got his ball-headed whole ass on the court and hit 5 3-pointers, I'm going to go crazy because I want everybody on my team to succeed. That's what I want them to do. I don't root against players on my team just so I can be right. That's one of the weirdest things people do in sports when they're just like, yep, they're going to suck. Ha ha ha. Like, why do you want your team to suck? But hey, it is what it is. Starting 5 staying the same. Giddey, Kobe, Zach, Ayo, Nikola Vucevic is your starters here. Yeah, but Billy has funky rotations, putting THC in for a bulk of the second quarter and then never playing again. Just weird stuff. Yeah, that stuff is weird. I agree with you on that one. Billy may be trying to find a blend or playing it according to matchups. But yeah, no. I'm not saying Billy Donovan doesn't do weird shit with his lineups. I'm just saying he's not the one that chooses having a bunch of guards on your roster, right? Why do y'all want this team to win, Haize? We're not getting anywhere with these players. Listen, I'm always going to root for my team to win. Now, do I think you can't keep in mind, I predicted this team to win 30 to 34 games. So I know they're not going to win, but I'm always going to root for them to win because I want to see my team win. But I also want the best for the team. But I'm never going to be sitting here actively rooting for a player. Like, that's different, right? Whether you want the team to win or lose, I'm not going to root for a player to fail just so I can be right about that player specifically, right? Like, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. I'm not rooting against Josh Giddey, but I watch players before they come to Chicago Bulls, and I actually study their games, and I actually try to see how they would fit on. Yeah, facts, right? And I'm not saying that there's not reason for serious doubt about the fit. Hell, I had that, right? But all right, y'all, gonna get ready to wrap it up, man. I appreciate you guys so much for the support. We'll be back at halftime. Make sure you guys also go and subscribe to NBA Central. Listen, I know a lot of y'all are general NBA fans. I've been putting in a lot of work on. Listen, it was slow and inconsistent. It's not as consistent as Bull Central as what I do here. But go and support NBA Central, man. That's all I can say. Like, if you guys love how I do content here, it's the same. It's just general NBA content, and I do it to the best of my ability, man. And I have a lot of fun talking general NBA stuff because it just adds a little bit of a different feel to not just always talk about Bulls. So y'all go subscribe to NBA Central as well. Support your boy over there. I'm just going to put the link in the chat now. So go and support your boy. Get that NBA Central in your life. But all right, man, I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following the channel at Bull Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Bulls related. And I'll see you guys at halftime. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace, y'all. And no winning outro because we ain't won shit yet. We'll go and play the outro.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.